Underway today at the White House between the U.S. and a key NATO ally.
Still have the snow on the ground. As a matter of fact, we show up in the national snow depth chart. But finally, when you get above 32 degrees, we're going to see this snow be gone by the middle of the week. The latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And Queen Elizabeth marks 70 years on the throne.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Police need your help after a man is hit and killed by a car along Steve Owens Boulevard over the weekend. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, a hit and run fatality in Miami, Oklahoma. According to Miami PD, around 10:30 Saturday night, they were called about a man down in the road on the 1200 block of Steve Owens Boulevard. Police arrived on scene and found a man who appeared to have been hit by a car. Officials say the car left the scene after hitting the man. Officials are seeking any witnesses to the incident. If you have any information, you're asked to contact the Miami Police Department. The man from Girard, Kansas is in custody after police say he kidnapped a child and tried to run from the officers. The Girard Police Department says it received a report of a domestic incident in progress over the weekend. A woman had reported 29-year-old Bryce Bethel was at her home trying to take their child. Police say there was a protection order against Bethel, barring him from coming to the home or having the child. Before officers arrived, police say Bethel took the woman's car, which was later found by a Crawford County deputy. Bethel made a run for it and then called 911 saying he'd return the child, but officials say he did not. The deputy was able to stop the car. Bethel was then taken into custody and charged with kidnapping, violation of a protection order, theft, and additional charges related to fleeing from the Crawford County deputies. The child was unharmed and returned to the mother. Well, most of us are ready for a warm-up, and you're in luck if you're like that. Michael Hazlip joins us with a first look at the forecast.
Is it me, or does anything over 32 now feel balmy compared to what we had last week? Isn't that something else? Still got some snow on the ground. Live look outside of Television City. Little light cloud cover, but man, what a delightful week we are in store for. Even the clouds that do run through southwest Missouri right there, we remain on the dry side because warming up and staying dry will be our keys as we progress through this week. Temperatures right now ranging anywhere from, say about 37 being one of our low points in Monette, all the way up to 47 and 48 in Chanute, Yates Center, and Sedan, respectively. So a nice way to get the work and school week underway, and not only that, it just gets better. Now the wind continues to shift and work in from the south later on today, and while it gets a little bit blustery, well, guess what that will set us up for by the time we get into tomorrow. Number one, we're able to stay above freezing tonight, so that's great news. Then as we get into Tuesday, additional sunshine. Watch these temperatures pop up here during the afternoon hours all the way into the 50s. As a matter of fact, we're going to roll 3 days of 50-degree weather until we get to the weekend. Coming up here in just a little bit, Tanya, we will talk about that drop that we're going to have Friday night into Saturday. But the nice thing is, even though we've got snowflakes on the 7-day forecast, it's a far cry from what we experienced last week. And if we can get through last week in that 6 to 8 inches that was spread throughout the 4 states, we're going to be good to go.
All right, sounds like a plan. Thanks, Michael. Well, diplomatic talks are heating up today in an attempt to stop the potential Russian invasion of Ukraine. French President Emmanuel Macron is meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Meanwhile, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz will visit President Biden this afternoon. Natalie Brand has more details from the White House.
President Biden is meeting with Germany's new chancellor, Olaf Scholz, at the White House in a high-stakes meeting with Russia-Ukraine tensions top of mind. As he left Germany, the chancellor told reporters, Russia must know if there's military aggression against Ukraine, that will have a high price. The discussion is also expected to focus on energy, with Germany heavily reliant on natural gas from Russia.
President Biden has pledged the United States will do everything we can to help ease any disruptions.
Germany, the U.S., and other NATO allies are working on a package of economic sanctions described as unprecedented.
The choice belongs to President Putin. He can make the choice of going down the route of diplomacy and dialogue with the United States and NATO, or he can take the consequences of invasion.
U.S. officials tell CBS News Russia has the capacity to capture Kyiv in a matter of days if it decides to invade.
We're in the window meaning that we can't just assume it's going to be a couple weeks off.
New satellite images show Russian troops in Belarus have moved closer to Ukraine's border. They're now about 30 miles away.
Not only the fighting forces, but also more and more the forces that is necessary to support those forces.
This weekend, another shipment of defense arms from the U.S. arrived in Ukraine as its allies continue to lean on diplomacy to avoid an invasion. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Close to 2,000 U.S. paratroopers from Fort Bragg, North Carolina, arrived in Poland to shore up support for the NATO ally, but will not be used to protect Ukraine if there is an invasion. On day 3 of the Beijing Winter Olympics, Team USA has yet to strike gold. Defending champion Michaela Schifrin had a tough go on her 2022 debut, losing control on the slopes on her first run in the giant slalom and no chance to medal. But a better outcome in the team's figure skating competition. Karen Chen rebounded with a terrific program as the USA claimed silver. And meanwhile, 15-year-old Russian figure skater Kamila Valieva became the first ever woman to land a quadruple jump at the Games. In fact, she landed 2. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, a royal celebration.
A massive moment for Britain's Queen Elizabeth. I'm Tina Kraus with why a nation is celebrating.
And later, we're making goes with anything cheesy grits in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Queen Elizabeth marked 70 years on the throne Sunday. The royal leader took over the title of longest reigning British monarch in 2015 when she surpassed the reign of her great-great-grandmother, Victoria. As CBS's Tina Kraus reports from London, the celebrations are just getting started.
A traditional 41-gun salute across the UK, celebrating a British monarch like no other. The royal salute kicks off Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee, honoring her 70 years on the throne.
This is a woman who, from her 20s through to the age of 95, has done nothing but put the United Kingdom first.
The Queen ascended to the throne in 1952 after her father's death. 7 decades later, it seems Her Majesty is looking down the royal line. She issued a surprising statement Saturday saying when her son Prince Charles becomes king, his second wife Camilla should have the title of Queen Consort.
I think it's high time that she made that decision. I'm delighted that she did.
For now, the Queen remains on the job. Here she is reading a congratulatory message from President Biden.
Oh, that's very kind.
The UK will officially celebrate the Queen's Platinum Jubilee when the weather warms up in June. There will be parades, parties, and maybe even a boost for tourism.
We're absolutely expecting to welcome lots of international visitors to come and celebrate with us 70 years of the Queen's reign.
It's unclear which public events the Queen may attend, but behind the scenes, she's already feeling the love. And her face is everywhere in the UK as millions honor the only monarch most have ever known. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
There's also a nationwide baking competition underway to create the perfect platinum pudding, a dessert that will be served at street parties and celebratory events across the country. Yummy. Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
It all started at a simple lunch in Nashville. From there, the rest is history. Join us for a Southern classic that you're not going to want to miss.
But first, Michael Hayslip returns with your complete forecast.
Now, we're certainly not done with our winter weather by any means. We've got a cold front that's headed our way this weekend, but sandwiched in between last week's event and this next front that's on its way, we are talking about just a beautiful, beautiful February week. There we are, a live look over 7th and Range Line. I really think even though the snow's piled up there in the church parking lot by Wednesday, it's going to be out of here since we're going to be sitting in the 50s for the middle of the week. Right now in Joplin, we're at 42 degrees. A little bit of a wind chill still in effect. Feels like 36, but certainly not too bad as we are well above the 32-degree mark. Now, this is kind of interesting, even though I think it's mainly because we're getting just beautiful skies and whatnot, and we're kind of out and about compared to where we were last week. But not a whole lot of difference from where we were at this point in time on Sunday. Kind of even par, a little bit warmer up in the northwest, but everybody else just within a couple degrees of where we were at the noon hour yesterday. Now, here's one thing we do need to catch up on. That's our average temperature for the month of January. Our average high right now, or month of February, excuse me. Even though we're only 6.5 days through, it's only 37. So the fact that we're going to be able to churn out some 50s here will catch us up relatively quick. Look at that record dating back to 1985 where it fell down to 4 degrees. No thank you. Even with the cloud cover, we are going to be on the dry side this entire week. So that snow, you know, it's a little treacherous to drive in. It was needed because we're coming off that near record-setting dry January, and we're not going to see any additional rainfall really until Saturday. And also, too, I want to point out a big difference in the jet stream, because normally, if we talk about it sweeping off the Canadian border right there, that's an indicator that we have that cold front. But look at this chimney, if you will, of some warmer air. And the reason is it's actually sweeping in off the Pacific. It's not coming straight down from the Arctic. We don't have that Arctic cold air. It comes in off the Pacific, and then it sweeps through there. So that's why we're not going to have one of those that's going to drop down into the 30s or 20s or anything like that, despite the fact that we see that the big arrow of the jet stream, and also to higher pressure just dominating the entire western portion of the United States. And of course, you get west of the Rockies, they're in dire need of some rain right now, but that's with our satellite coverage on. You've got to drop down to the Gulf and the Mid-Atlantic, and then, like I said, you get on the other side of the river, on our side, there's nary a thing going on. However, we do turn up still on the national snow depth chart. Thought this was kind of interesting. Just gives you a radar view there of where the snowpack still remains, and we're still clinging on to it. We show up, even though, like I said, you throw some 50s up there, and even everything that the plows got to push to the side, they'll be gone here by Wednesday. Today we'll top out around, say, 47, 48 degrees. Wind is going to shift to the southwest. Also, to pick up, we'll get some 20-mile-an-hour gusts for this afternoon. Overnight, if you're interested, Tanya and I have been pointing this out during the morning show. Look out to the east. You're going to get a wonderful shot of Venus. That's because our skies are going to be so clear each and every night and morning. And it's hard to miss. Like I said, if you look out there when it's dark, either late tonight or early tomorrow morning, it almost has an orangish glow to it. As far as future track, how about we sit back and enjoy back-to-back days from Tuesday and Wednesday that are going to put us up into the 50s. That's why I said we're going to catch up on that average temperature this time of year. As one storm system rolls up the mid-Atlantic up through New England, you'll notice to our left, there's just absolutely not a whole lot of changes other than that big warm front that penetrates off the Gulf. Now, eventually, that does feed us a little Gulf moisture, and we're going to combo that with that aforementioned Arctic air. However, that's not going to happen until late Friday night into early Saturday. And Tanya, even what we do see right there, the snowflakes, we're talking about a dusting, maybe 1/4 of an inch. So that's all that will equivocate to. So sorry, kiddos. I think we used up all your school days last week, or your snow days last week.
Well, we used enough of them. 3 in a row, yeah. All right, thanks, Michael. We take this time to honor today's 4th state hero, Petty Officer 2nd Class Rodney Gwynn in the U.S. Navy. Sailor from Grove, Oklahoma, served during the Gulf War from 1986 to 1990. Here in the Navy Achievement Medal and 2 battle awards. To Petty Officer Rodney Gwynn, we thank you, our 4th state hero. Today we're making a recipe that's inspired by the very best of Southern comfort food. Howard shows us how to make goes with anything cheesy grits in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
You know, I didn't grow up in the South, but boy, I have fallen in love with Southern food. A few weeks ago, I was in Nashville having lunch with a couple of friends, and I was in the mood for something really Southern. So I ordered shrimp with cheesy grits. I have to admit, this dish delivered. It was the best I ever had. As soon as I got back to the test kitchen, we whipped up a batch of cheesy grits that I'm so proud of that I have to share them with you. All you have to do is bring some salt water to a boil, add a good amount of grits, and give it a good stir. After letting them simmer for a few minutes, they'll start to thicken up. At this point, we remove them from the heat and stir in lots of sharp cheddar cheese, along with a little butter. Once everything is smooth and melty, we stir in some black pepper. And to give this a kick, a bit of ground red pepper. Now we could serve this just like this, or top bowls of it with some grilled shrimp or catfish as a real Southern favorite. Or how about serving this with some good old fried chicken for a combo that is nothing short of spectacular? To get the recipe for our goes with anything cheesy grits, simply visit our website. I'm Howard of the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a Southern-inspired way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Love me some good grits. You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at koamnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4-state market prices.
I was doing a little mental math here, and if we can ride this, if those 7-day highs stay as we predict right there, we're going to have a middle of February week, where our average high is going to be about 50 degrees by the time we get to Friday. Isn't that something else? And then we'll address the cold front that's coming in over the weekend as we get closer to it. So get out and enjoy some sunshine this week.
Been bouncing around for a week.
Yeah.
Really.
You know, this chill that you're talking about is coming right on the eve of Valentine's.
Also the
What's
polar
the connection
plunge.
With that?
Excuse to be in front of the fireplace.
Speaking of Valentine's, what do we have coming up tonight at 5?
Funny you should ask. Valentine's Day is going to be more expensive this year. Between inflation and supply chain issues, we can expect a jump in flowers and chocolate costs. We're going to find out how much. But, excuse me. I'm going to let you finish this.
The city of Pittsburgh releases more details about the FedEx Ground Distribution Center opening this fall, and we take a look at the newly renovated Cancer Center at Via Christi Hospital. Join us for those stories and much more tonight on the K-Wave News at 5.
Probably
often happens to me around Valentine's Day too.
Get all choked up.
All right, thanks for joining us for KOAM News at noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.